In today's market, a new job, even a conservative one, could mean $6,000 or more back in your pocket every single month, especially if you're a tenured professional. This math isn't complicated, but it is painful. What is truly complicated is watching talented, experienced professionals lose month after month of income because they are simply just applying online and waiting for someone else to control their next move. If you've been in a job search for 3 months, 6 months, a year, or even longer, just imagine what this is costing you financially. But even beyond the money, think about what it has cost you: confidence, your motivation, and the belief in yourself. I'm Lori Lawrence, founder of Next Chapter Career Coaching and the Next Chapter Method for your job search. I help professionals over the age of 45 land in a new job in 90 days or less. In the last 18 months, I've helped over 120 professionals land quickly in their dream role. Today, I want to talk about one of the biggest mistakes I see experienced professionals make, because it is also one of the easiest things to fix. And the good news is, it's probably not your resume. It's probably your visibility. Every week, I talk with professionals who tell me exactly the same thing. Lori, I've applied literally to hundreds of jobs. My resume has been rewritten, so many times, and it's optimized for every single position. I know I'm qualified. I just can't seem to get anyone to email me or reach out to me for an interview or even an introduction. So if that's you, I want you to hear something, and I hope this gives you encouragement instead of continued frustration. This truly isn't about your experience or your ability to do that particular role that you've applied for. But what it is, it's about your being visible. Being invisible in the market is the reason why you can't be found. Years ago, finding a job, well, it was fairly straightforward. You polished your resume, searched for job postings, submitted your application, and waited. Recruiters would write you a personal email letting you know that your resume had been received, and interviews would begin in a week or two. And someone would be getting back in touch one way or another if you were qualified for that particular position. Yes, most of the time, eventually someone would reach out, set up a time to begin the process. But this is when the market was not saturated with highly qualified candidates just like you. And this was before technology was evolving so fast. Today's hiring market simply doesn't work that way anymore. So like everything else that changes, you must change along with it or be left behind. Recruiters and hiring managers aren't sitting around waiting for applications to pile into their ATS systems. In many cases, they are so overwhelmed with hundreds and hundreds of applications within a few days. Instead, what they've decided to do is search silently. They're asking colleagues for referrals. They're looking through LinkedIn well before a position is even posted publicly. They're looking at profiles like yours, and they're actively looking for people using their own recruiter profile and using the new LinkedIn algorithm. Questions have changed. No longer is it, are you qualified? But the question is, can they find you? This is why I spend so much time coaching my clients on all aspects of LinkedIn, not just their banner, headline, about, and experience sections. Those are important, but how are you using your LinkedIn profile to be seen? LinkedIn is not just a social media platform that sits on top of a job board. LinkedIn is your digital first impression as a professional. What does yours say? For many recruiters, your LinkedIn profile is actually much more important than your resume because it's the very first place they go to validate who you are. So think about your own behavior. When someone tells you about a professional you've never met, what do you usually do? Well, you probably Google them. Hiring managers do exactly the same thing, and it brings them to LinkedIn. If they land on a profile that hasn't been updated in years or has a generic headline, a copy and pasted resume in the about section, and very little activity, if any, they naturally wonder if they're still engaged in their career, if they're still looking. That doesn't mean you aren't talented. It simply means your online presence, beginning with LinkedIn, it isn't communicating the value that you actually can bring to an organization. I often tell my clients something that really surprises them. Your LinkedIn profile should market your future, not simply document your past. Those are completely different objectives. Your resume explains where you've been, but your LinkedIn profile should tell people where you're going. It should immediately communicate the problems you solve, the value you create and bring into a role, and the type of role you're pursuing next. That means your headline does matter and your about section matters. So do all of the featured accomplishments. Well, they matter too. The keywords throughout your profile matter because recruiters search using these words every single day. So if your profile doesn't contain the language they're searching for and the algorithm, well, it's trying to signal, you simply aren't going to appear. So this isn't personal, but it's how you're using the technology. Now, here's another shift I want you to think about. Most people approach their job search with a application first mindset. Search job boards, apply, wait, repeat. I really want you to replace this with a visibility first strategy. Visibility creates opportunities that applications alone never will. Maybe it's a recruiter who discovers your profile. Maybe it's a former coworker who read a post or a comment that you made on LinkedIn and realizes you're looking. Maybe it's a hiring manager who checks out your profile before deciding whether to interview you. Maybe it's someone in your network who introduces you to a decision maker before a position is even advertised. None of those opportunities happen if no one knows you're even there. That's why visibility, it isn't an accident. It's a strategy, and it's a clear mindset, and it's using today's technology. One of my clients recently shared something with me that meant a really great deal. Whitney, he said that I understood what it takes to get hired in a very competitive and difficult market because every strategy is customized to the individual, and that I truly walk through the process with them until they're comfortable and they begin to start seeing success. I really appreciated those words because that's exactly how I coach. There isn't one magic resume, there isn't one perfect LinkedIn headline, and there isn't one networking message that works for everyone. The strategy has to fit you and the situation. Your experience and your goals and your strengths, all of those have to fit the situation, and it's what makes you authentic. And authenticity, that's going to build your confidence. Confidence creates conversations, conversations create interviews, and interviews create offers. Let me give you something very practical to do today. I want you to set aside 20 minutes. That's all I'm asking. Take a look at your LinkedIn profile and look at it through the eyes of a recruiter who has never met you. Ask yourself these questions. Does my headline clearly communicate the role that I am going after? Does my about section, does it tell a story and talk about measurable business impact instead of just listing out a bunch of responsibilities or different competencies? Does my profile include industry relevant words and language? Have I turned on my open to work privately for recruiters? Does my profile tell the story of where I'm headed or only where I've been? Those small improvements can dramatically increase your visibility. Sometimes it isn't about changing everything. Sometimes it's simply about making it easier for the right people to find you. And then I want you to ask yourself 3 honest questions. Is my LinkedIn profile actually even working for me? Am I building relationships? Or am I just simply submitting applications and I'm waiting for someone to reach out to me? Who's really in control of my career? Do I have a strategy? Or am I just hoping that the right posting eventually will appear? Those questions matter because hope isn't a job search. Action is. If you've been watching my channel for a while now, you already know something about me. My role isn't to help you find more jobs to apply for. There are thousands of websites that already do that. My role is to help the right people recognize your value before your resume even reaches their desk. That's a completely different approach. It's why we spend so much time positioning, networking, engaging, visibility, interview preparation, and building genuine relationships. Because recruiters fill positions, people choose teammates, and people hire professionals they know, trust, and can clearly understand. So if you're over 45 and you're wondering why this search feels so much harder than it did 5, 10, 15 years ago, please don't assume it's your age. More often than not, it's your strategy. As I've said, the market has changed. Most experienced professionals simply haven't changed with it. The wonderful thing about a strategy is that it can easily be learned. Visibility can be improved immediately. Confidence can be rebuilt, and momentum can return very quickly. And yes, you can absolutely land again. So if you're tired of doing this alone, I'd love to help. Whether that's through my twice weekly coaching community or my VIP one-on-one coaching program that has a complete deferred payment, or simply starting with a clarity conversation. There are resources available to help you stop guessing and start building a strategy that actually fits today's market. Because every month you wait is another month of lost opportunity. Remember where we started? A new job, even a conservative one, could mean $6,000 or more back in your pocket every single month. And as I said, that math isn't really complicated. The only question is, what are you going to do differently this week to make sure the right people can finally see you? If you found this video helpful, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave me a comment, or share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Feel free to book a time. The link is down below. Have a great weekend and happy 250th, America. I'll see you next week. Bye.